Hello, dog.
Is that Niles? Greeting everyone.
Come on.
Hello, everyone.
Hello, dog.
Hi.
Hi.
All right.
Did we lose Mike?
Hmm?
We had your husband here, I thought. Was just
He's
you?
coming. He'll be here.
Was the
Hi,
name,
Natalie.
not his face? Okay, no, I thought I saw his face.
How's everybody doing today?
Good. How are you, David?
Fine.
Okay. Okay. How's your foot, Ruthie?
I'm still calling in sick.
Good.
It's
Oh.
good, but it's not good. It's
Oh.
it's taken. See, I know they said 2 months, but I didn't want that. I'm gonna. Well, I took this week off. I wasn't going to take next week off. I just told them I'm taking next week off. So, I mean, they're not giving me a hard time, but there's no sub for some of the classes. So
Well, you got to take care of yourself. Oh, we've got Steve and or Becky.
the good news was I was more concerned about the CAT scan, and that came out good.
That's good.
David, I'm going to have to ask you, are you going to be taping your talk on the Chinese food? And
I don't know. Like it will be on YouTube Live as usual, like any service. So
okay,
you could watch the service and skip all the prayers and stuff and get right to the Devar Torah if that's what you
well,
want.
no, it sounds very interesting, and I don't know if that's one I'm going to be able to make because of the
The
family.
unusual date, yeah.
Because it is.
Well, the I am also writing my article for the newsletter is about, it's called Jews, Christmas, and Chinese food.
I'm really looking forward to hearing about that, David. Seriously.
And I had to cut it down because my Devar Torah, I've got things, I've also have Jews, Christmas, Chinese food, and also Christmas trees and other assorted things.
You know, I've got Dwayne absolutely convinced that in order to break fast, one must have Chinese food.
To break fast on Yom Kippur?
Had him convinced for years.
Oh.
Really? I don't know that.
Yeah, I haven't.
Oh, it's so different from what I usually break fast with. It's like, I suppose I would eat it because I'm hungry. And I like
in the
it.
stomach, I think. Oh,
Well,
no,
that's how we did it when I was a kid. So my
Oh,
mother.
really? Huh.
no, not
Let's
me.
save some effort of like making egg salad and tuna salad and taking the locks out of the wrapper and everything.
What my
Empty
grandma
stomach?
wanted.
I'm a bagel, cream cheese, and lox guy, and egg salad for Yom Kippur break fast.
Mike Berkowitz, how are you feeling?
Yeah, Phil. Yeah, okay.
That's the first time I've seen you in a long time. Hi,
Yeah.
Natalie.
Haven't seen you here either.
No, I didn't know that the Hebrew classes had started up until, thank God, Norm mentioned it last week, and I sent David an email. Somehow I wasn't on the emails,
Oh,
Yeah,
and
there's
I
only
guess
Be-
Becky
like-
missed it and didn't tell me.
Yeah. Well, it's great to have you back, Steve.
Thank you. Nice to be
Sorry
back.
about the miscommunication.
That's all right. I'm happy to be back so I can, get some jokes in there that Norm won't like.
you like the word back, I know, with your back. Your back. Your back.
Steve, you and I are going to sit here and annoy Norm. Is that the idea?
It's not
Oh,
hard.
Absolutely. All right, folks. Well, let's start class. And so to get you back up to speed, Steve, feel free to watch any of our classes on YouTube if you want to, because we've been we haven't been doing the same thing as last year. We've been looking at the structure of the service. And now we're looking at the structure of one particular part of the service called the Shema and its blessings.
How would I find those live streams, David?
Go to,
Yeah. The address
Is it in the email you sent?
yeah, so, well, yeah, I'll
Okay.
send an email with it. So it's,
Okay.
and once you find one, you should be able to find others. It's the Temple Chaye Shalom. The temple has 3 different YouTube accounts, unfortunately, which
And I
makes
can't figure out which is which. That confuses
Yeah,
me.
so Chaye
What?
Shalom,
What?
Easton is the services. I want to consolidate them, but it's complicated.
Okay.
I'm
All right,
not the
I'll-
one that does it. But anyway, it's the Temple Chaye Shalom YouTube account, and I will send a follow-up email with some of the links for you.
All right. Thank you. I don't want to waste anybody else's time, but I'm sure I can find them. And I'll communicate with you privately on the email if I can't find it.
Sure, that's
Thank you.
great. So,
So do I need the book then? Should I put the book away?
yeah, we're using the Siddur
Oh,
is what we're using for this class now, pretty
Okay.
much. Do you have one?
I don't know if we have, which is the title on that one real quick?
Siddur Sim Shalom.
Sid or Shimshola. You go ahead and I'll go take a quick look. If I don't, I'll have to see whatever you put on the screen. Let me go
Okay,
look.
if you have another Siddur, get that. Any Siddur, you can.
Okay,
pull
no,
that.
we definitely have a Siddur. I just don't know if it's that one.
Well, this is best, but if you have another one, we'll make it work.
Okay, I'll be right back.
Okay. So, we were talking about, well, let's start with I gave you some Hebrew reading to do for homework on page 29, on page 28. So let's start with a little bit of Hebrew reading, and then we'll dive into. So you probably recall that this page 28 is for the evening, the creation themed passage. And in here, we've got 2 things. Do you have a Siddur?
Nope, but I'm going to put myself on mute and call Becky and ask her where it is. It's not where I thought it would be.
Okay,
You go ahead. Thank you.
okay. So what we've got in here that we use for services, more often than not, we don't do the creation portion. We do revelation. We do Ahavat Olam. But sometimes we do roll into dark from here.
Mhm.
And sometimes, especially at Shabbat Nashira, maybe only Shabbat Nashira, we do something called El Chai B'Kayam. So what I want to do is the second half of this paragraph. That's what I assigned for optional homework. So we're going to start on the 4th line
1, 2, 3, 4.
at the period after the word kirtzono.
Mhm.
And so these are the Hebrew words that are in Roll into Dark, which is, you probably know, also has a bunch of English words. The English words are pretty much a translation of, sort of a translation. So, I'm going to ask each person to read a few words. Okay. Let's say 3 words per person. Norm, you go first.
Borei Yom Valayla.
Excellent. Good. So that means creator of day and night. And borei, that verb, bet, resh, aleph, is a verb for creation that is only used when for God, the creator. There are other words for creation when it's a person. Like if I'm creating a painting or something like that, I don't use that word bara or bore. That's creating out of nothing, something that, according to our tradition, only God can do. All right, next three words. Hannah.
Golel or mipne.
Do one more because it'll make the sentence work better in the translation.
Hoshech.
Kosher. Good. So that means roller, I guess, of light from darkness. And you might recall, all right.
Becky knew where it was, and it wasn't where I was looking. Can you tell me what page, please?
There is a small problem. Hold up the cover again.
It says Sidor Sim Shalom.
It's a different edition. That's an older edition. That's the complete. This is as opposed to the. This is known as Slim Shalom.
All right.
Idiomatically, and it's a later edition. It's only Shabbat and festivals, but we can make it work. Do I have a copy of that?
Yeah, if you can't quickly tell me, I don't want to hold everybody up. I can always.
You're looking for the evening service, Ma'ariv.
Yeah, look for the Shabbat.
It's on page 28 in this book.
Shabbat evening service is what you're looking for.
Let me see if.
There's a table of contents.
Oh yeah, this is definitely old. It says from Temple Israel of Sharon to Marcy Braidman on March 10th, 1995.
Right. So as you recall, this is using sort of that ancient Israelite thinking about cosmology, where there are sort of spheres that are, night is rolled, the light is rolled away from day, and day is rolled away from light, and that's the source that's used. That's the idea that's used in that song. Roll into dark, roll into light. It's not that we're doing the rolling. It's that that God is causing the heavens to do the rolling. All right. Next three words, Teresa. I think you're muted, Teresa. Are you? No, I can't hear you.
Muted, but she is.
You're not muted, but I can't hear you.
No.
Maybe we'll come back to you. All right, work on it. We'll come back to you. All right, so Natalie, the next three words.
Hoshech, mipne or.
Excellent, good. And that means and darkness away from light, the opposite of what what Hannah just read. So rolling light from darkness and darkness from light. So emphasizing the cyclical aspect, that this is something that happens every day. All right, Mike.
Okay.
Next four.
Yom V'Mevi. Umevi.
And one more word.
Lila.
Good. So that means and sort of crosses or like passes day and brings the night. So I guess that like day has passed and night has come. All right, Ruthie.
Umavdil. Am I okay? Yeah, I'm muted.
Yep.
Umavdil, Bain, Yom, Ubain, Lila.
Good. And who distinguishes, notice the same root as Havdalah, which is distinguishing, and distinguishes between day and night. Steve,
Yeah,
have
I'm,
you
I'm
found the
still,
place?
I haven't,
Still looking?
tell me exactly what it's called again, please.
Shema.
Shabbat evening service.
Shabbat evening. So I'm working towards it. I'm in the section for Shabbat services, but I have not found
No, I
evening.
used to have that Siddur. It might be at home.
Steve, we're doing
Yes,
the
Mark.
Baruch prayer. We're doing the Baruch prayer. Maybe you'll see it that way.
That's a
Yeah.
good hint, Norm.
Right.
I'm just gonna go, I'm going right now, I'm going page per page through the.
And it's
Shabbat for the
typically in the
weekday service.
beginning, look in the beginning pages for the service.
Well, the beginning says morning services, and didn't David say evening?
Well, you got to go to Mariv. It's a
Right,
different
so
service.
That's what I'm trying to
But
find,
the
but
beginning of that service.
it
It might be
doesn't,
easier. It might be easier with the table of contents.
so the table of contents, unfortunately, here's what it has. I'm sorry, I hate taking up everybody's time here. All it has is between pages 1 and 251 are the weekday services.
Uh,
The next one is Shabbat and festival, then, and then,
That's what we want. Go to the beginning of Shabbat and festivals,
oh, all right. That's where I started before, I couldn't
Because-
find it, but
because
maybe I missed it.
because
All
it
right, so
should
that's
be.
page 251,
It should be that it starts with the evening service.
okay? I apologize to everybody.
It's okay.
All right.
Teresa,
So-
have you gotten your? Say something. Can't hear you.
No voice.
Maybe you should sign in and out again.
Is a mic on your computer?
It's not showing that you're muted.
I know.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, there it is.
It-
That was good. I
You
know.
did it, whatever you did.
All right. So Teresa, why don't you read the next three words, which are the third line from the bottom, the last two words, and then one more.
You're not muted.
I'm sorry. Elenu, right?
No, I don't know.
Right.
I'm not.
Forgetting the word. It's not.
No, it's Adonai.
Adonai. I'm sorry.
You'd
Sight
have
word.
Adonai. It's a sight word, yes.
That sight word that was escaping me. It's oat.
Good. Tzivaot.
Oh, good. That's right. Shema.
Ale.
No. There's one word before ale.
Oh, I thought I said that.
Oh, I
Shema.
didn't hear it. Shemo.
Shema.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. Shemo. So we talked about this. Interestingly, our Siddur chooses not to translate Adonai Tzvaot. Well, Adonai is Adonai, God's name. Tzvaot, they choose not to translate because what it means is Adonai Tzvaot is his name or God's name. So but Tzvaot means of armies or legions, or it's a military unit, or that's often used for masses of people. It doesn't have to be military, but it has sort of a military kind of connotation.
And David, I have found it now. Thank you.
Fantastic.
Thanks to
So-
Norm. Norm, that was a good way to find it.
So
Okay, I was just writing you something, but you got it. Great.
So you're at the beginning of Shabbat evening, or have you found
Well,
Baruch?
I found the three words that Teresa just read. That's
Oh,
what I found.
fantastic. Great. So read the next three.
So ale, high, the kayom,
Yam, the
the
Kayam.
kayam. Oh, that's right. I forgot the T is, I got to remember all this stuff now. Everything is the ah sound.
Yeah.
The kayam.
The Kayam. Good. And so this is, I mentioned this line I wrote a musical setting to that we use for Shabbat and Ashira, and I call it El Chai B'Kayam, which means living, enduring God. How do they do it? Eternal God, they translate it.
Mm-hmm.
Eternal God. 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 Eternal not such a great translation because chai means living, and they don't really. Vikayam means enduring or established. Good. All right. So now we are. Since Steve hasn't been here such a long time, read another 3 words.
Is this punishment for missing?
No, we'll read it until the period.
Law.
Another 5 words.
All right.
We got to get you back up to speed.
All right. Tamid,
Good.
Yimloch,
Yep.
Aleinu,
Hmm.
Leolam Va'ed.
Good.
Leolam Va'ed.
Le'olam. Good.
Leolam.
Tamid yimloch aleinu, always rule over us. Le'olam va'ed, forever and ever. Will always rule. It's a future tense. It's not an imperative, or it's not an ask. Saying it's a description of God, saying that God is a living, enduring God. And God's rule will always, God will always rule over us forever and ever. Right. All right. So the closing blessing there, Norm, go ahead.
Baruch atah Adonai hama'ariv aravim.
Good job. And that's our closing blessing for this, meaning, blessed are you, Adonai. So you notice we have sort of the same word twice. Once is a verb, hama'ariv, or who, that means who evenings aravim, evening. It's we don't do that in English, but it's a poetic Hebrew device where you use the verb form and the noun form there. Now, one interesting thing about that word erev or ma'ariv is that it's also the word for west, the direction west. Why do you think that would be?
That's in the west? No.
Well, the sun sets in the west, evening.
That's why we like you here, Steve.
Okay, that's it. So I'm leaving while I'm up, I will see you next week.
The sun sets in the west, and so that's where that word for evening comes from. And so, you want to hear a bad Hebrew pun joke?
Always.
We get it is the question.
That is borderline offensive. I hope it's only borderline offensive.
Okay. Now I'm
So,
intrigued.
Some people say this should be interpreted. It could sort of literally be translated, blessed are you, God, who ma'ariv, who westernizes Aravim, the Arabs.
Oh. Oh. Not offensive?
All right, maybe it's over the board.
To whom?
I should take this off of YouTube, I beg. That does not express the views of the Temple Chaye Shalom or the teacher. I'm just repeating a bad joke. I'm sorry. Okay. So there we have that. We're going to go on to the next section. So I want you to close your books. Remember what page you're on, though, Steve.
Okay. I'm gonna mark it with a Post-it.
Good. But I don't want you to be looking at the book right now. Well, before we go into the next section, Revelation, we're working with the evening for 2 reasons. The evening is shorter and simpler is the first reason, and the evening is what we do more often in our services. We do Shabbat evening services, and we attend Shabbat evening services more often than Shabbat morning services. Morning is longer and more involved and more complicated, and we took a quick look at it last time, and we might come back and take a look at it, but I want us to go through the structure in the evening. And then we'll come back and take more of a look at the morning. So we had said, and I'll share this screen for the benefit of everyone. So here is what we're looking at for review.
Let's see it.
What a typical morning service looks like. We've got some blessings to start the day. We've got our verses of song, Pesukei de Zimra, Shema and its blessings, creed, meaning that it's not truly a prayer, it's more a exploration and statement of Jewish belief. And so that's where we are now. We're looking at the two blessings before the Shema. Then after that, we have the Amidah, which is where we ask for things, and then Torah. So let's go to where we are now. In Shema and its blessings, we just did creation. And so the next section is revelation. Then we've got the 3 paragraphs of the Shema, of which we don't really do all 3 in the Reform movement. We do 1.5, I would say, of them. And then we have redemption. That's our frame for the Shema is creation, revelation, and redemption, which is sort of the in a nutshell version of Jewish theology, Jewish thought about our relationship with God. We experience God through creation, through the wonders of creation around us. We experience God through revelation of the Torah. And we experience God through God's saving of us and the Jewish people. So that's our frame for Shema. So I'll stop this screen share now. So let's just do a quick brainstorm without looking at what the prayer actually says. What do you think will be in this next section in terms of ideas about Revelation? What would you expect before we actually look at it? Norm?
Could it possibly be God revealing himself to us through the commandments and the Torah?
It certainly could. That's a great start. And that's a lot of it right there. That revelation specifically refers to Torah. And Torah, the essence of Torah for this purpose, is the mitzvot, what the guidance for our lives in the Torah, not pretty stories, are the guidance. And so the rabbis see that largely as the mitzvot in the Torah, the Jewish law. Would you expect to see anything else? Steve?
I don't know, but would it be the declaration from God that he is the one and only God? Is that part of Revelation or not?
Well, it might be. We'll see.
Okay.
We will see, because that's certainly an important idea. Anything else you think might be in there? Just you don't have to be right. We're just brainstorming. Norm?
Well, I was thinking just the word revelation. There's a revealing of the commandments, mitzvot, but there's also, if we use the Torah as part of this thing, there's lots in the Torah which is stories, and then we can draw metaphors and analysis and understanding of life and the rules and the mitzvah from the stories, but it's almost like God is revealing his the human interrelationship between the divinity and us mortals.
Are you davening while you say that? It's like you were davening while you say that. You have to, is that on purpose?
No,
No. Okay.
subconscious.
Yes, it's true from the heart, davening.
Yeah.
We call that shuckling in the old country.
That's true.
I haven't heard that word for a long time.
That is shuckling. But that's a great idea that maybe we would see something not only about the mitzvot and Jewish law, but also something about the stories, because we could get a lot of insight about our human relationships and our relationship with God from the story aspect of the Torah. Anything else? Or Teresa?
I don't know if this is right, but after you said that, I thought of maybe maybe it's part of the service where you start to introduce, like the names of the, like Elijah and those kind of people that are in the stories, and not Elijah, but that one prayer that has all the three, the men and the women.
Oh, so you're talking about the avot and imahot, the
Yeah.
fathers and the mothers,
I don't know, is that too
the
early?
characters in the book of Genesis. So you might expect to see those folks in here.
Mhm.
Ruthie?
Could he reveal himself? He has relationship with us. So in Revelation, he's revealing that he is for people. There's an interaction with you between God. It's more of a personal thing, perhaps, or the people, the Jewish people and God.
So something about the relationship
Yeah.
between the Jewish people and God. What do you think what might it say about the relationship between the Jewish people and God?
Chosen.
Chosenness.
Exclusive.
All right. That might be in there. Hannah.
Maybe sort of the contract, God's expectations of us versus what I expect from you as my people and what you can expect from me in return.
Perfect.
Okay.
Sort of the details of the contract.
The details of the contract and the Hebrew word for that. We know the Hebrew word for the contract. It's the brit.
Ketubah.
No, that's a
a
wedding.
marriage.
That's
That
a
is a
wedding.
marriage
Well,
contract.
that's a contract.
You can be married to God, I guess, right?
Well, yeah. So the Torah, and specifically some of these passages, are compared to a ketubah. But the word for the covenant, the contract,
Brit.
in Jewish tradition is the brit.
All right.
Brit.
We actually learned that in Torah class and I forgot.
Yeah. Great. So let's take a look at it now. So turn to page 29 if your name is not Steve. If your name is Steve, turn to the next page after the one that you were on. So you see that the prayer is one that we do just about every Friday night, Ahavat Olam.
29. Oh,
So could I have a volunteer to read it in English?
29. Torah is a closed book.
Natalie.
Which page?
With constancy, you have loved your people Israel, teaching us Torah and mitzvot, statutes and laws. Therefore, Adonai our God, when we lie down to sleep and when we rise, we shall think of your laws and speak of them, rejoicing always in your Torah and mitzvot. For they are our life and the length of our days. We will meditate on them day and night. Never take your love from us. Praise are you, Adonai, who loves the people Israel.
Thank you, Natalie. So now that we have read this, how did we do with our speculations? Did we Did we hit the main points? Did we miss anything big? Speak up, don't be shy.
This group.
Well, I don't know that we talked about the Lord's love for us.
Right, we did not talk about that, except sort of. Ruthie had said, I think it was Ruthie,
Relationship. Yeah.
that there might be stuff about God, our relationship with God. And so, so it really isn't talking about, well, let me not say that. It starts out talking about God's love for us, right? And how is that love expressed?
Give us life. He gave us life, certainly.
In the words of the prayer.
Oh, I'm sorry.
The laws.
The laws, by giving us like a structure, a framework, guidance, good guidance to live our lives, the Torah. What else did we miss that's in here? Or what did they, what did the rabbis who wrote this prayer think that we didn't think of?
Spreading the word, so to speak of them.
Mhm. So I think you're
It's
talking about,
also the need for us to be praying night and day.
right. So we shall both
We lie
think of
down
them
to sleep and
and,
when we rise.
right. Mhm.
But is that one of the mitzvot, or is that just surrounding the mitzvot? I mean, is there a commandment that says we shall pray every morning
Yeah.
or 3 times a day and stuff like that? Or is that, are we deriving that in our prayers that we're going to pray all the time?
All right, so we'll do a sneak preview. Turn the page to the next page, to Shema and Ve'ahavta, and take a
Uh-huh.
look at the English. This is probably quite familiar to you. I'm in the middle of the translation of Ve'ahavta. Teach them diligently to your children and recite them at home and away night and day. That means it's a mitzvah from the words of the Torah. So one of the interesting things to do is, maybe we'll do this next week. I don't know that we'll have time this week, is to look at comparing this paragraph with the paragraph of Ve'ahavta for parallels. But
Which is the comparison, David? The Ve'ahavta and what else?
the paragraph that we're looking at, Ahavat Olam.
Ahavat Olam, the two
Yeah.
those two paragraphs.
Yeah. So, so this, for example, this says, we will think about your laws and speak of them day and night. Shema says, you shall, as a commandment, recite them day and night. So it's sort of like before we even get to the commandment, we say we will do it. All right. So we had said that there's emphasis in here about God's love for us. What about, is there anything about our emotional life, our emotional spiritual life in this paragraph that we didn't mention before?
It talks about our rejoicing in the
Yes. And what are we rejoicing about?
the commandments, the mitzvot.
Right. So why do you think it would say we rejoice in the commandments and mitzvot?
It's it's something to feel good about.
Mhm. Yeah,
It's a joyous thing to do, the mitzvot.
okay.
The gift.
Steve?
I would think that there's a safety in that everyone should be following the same rules that makes our lives more meaningful and safe if we're all abiding by the same laws.
The cause
I
for
mean, it would be
rejoicing.
nice. It would be nice right now if the world was abiding by the same laws that are in the Torah. Obviously,
Yeah, true.
I'm not sure how much I would rejoice in the fact that I was given a bunch of rules, other than if it made our lives more meaningful and safe.
Good. So there's a lot there in what Steve just said for me. But before I comment, let's hear from Norm and Ruthie.
Well, I was just going to say the rejoicing part could be that we rejoice in doing the mitzvot, even though we still may want to eat Chinese food, even though it's not kosher. But we rejoice in God's giving us the opportunity to do that.
Oh, interesting. Even though we might not do all of it. Interesting. That's an interesting point of view. Ruthie?
It shows God loves us. It reminds us that we're really loved. We're loved by God. It's a real important being.
The mitzvot do?
Uh-huh.
And that's why we rejoice, because God expressed love for us.
Us.
Oh, I like that. That's a nice reading. I want to go back to something Steve said, because like one of the ways that this hits me is, they're emphasizing, view all this law and all this stuff joyously, because it's sort of human nature not to. Who wants to be like given all of these restrictions on what to eat and what to do and when to say this prayer and when to say that prayer and all of the huge body of law in the Torah, that like it could be very tempting for people to view it as a burden rather than a joy. And so this prayer is encouraging us a better way to view it, perhaps. To view it as an expression of God's love and something that we do joyously, rather than, oy vey, I've got to like not order the pork lo mein. Okay, I'll order the chicken lo mein for you, God. All right.
Almost like a parent and a child. If the parent said, I'm going to love you and take care of you, but only if you follow all these rules of the house and follow them every single day and talk about them. Otherwise, I'm not going to love you and rejoice.
Ooh, that's not.
Well,
Well,
yeah,
it's. I mean, go ahead,
I don't
David.
know. So I liked what you were saying until the very end about the
Yeah.
like if you don't do it, I won't love you. I hope not too many parents say that. And I hope God doesn't say that.
But hasn't God in the history of the Bible, this God is not the nicest God when you don't do the things he likes. So we've been learning in Torah class.
Right, but chastisements don't necessarily mean a lack of love. They could be done out of love, theoretically, right? Discipline.
Well, the verse doesn't say that. It's between the lines maybe, but like I said, I think there's a comfort in if we're all following them, it's better for all of us in living together on this world.
Mm-hmm. Right. All right, so let's turn to the Hebrew of this. Now, I would expect that for some of us at least, this Hebrew is going to be familiar because we sing this in Hebrew every Friday night. And so maybe you can do it singing but not reading. That often happens. Or maybe it's still hard. You know, anything is fine, of course. So let's read some of this. Let's go in a different order. Let's start this time with let's start with Mike. Would you read the first line?
Okay. V'ahavta et.
No. Page 29. Ahavat olam.
Oh. Ahava olam Beit Yisrael amcha ahavta.
Good. All right, good. Next line, Ruthie.
Torah umitzvot.
Good. That's a tricky word, right?
Mhm.
It looks like mitzvot, doesn't it?
Who
How do you know that it's mitzvot and not mitzvot?
because I know the song.
All right, well, that's one way, Steve.
Well, you've got I think it was called the Shiva under the Z, which is kind of like a stop, and then you have the vowel over the V, so followed by a consonant. So vote meets vote. At least that's how I read it.
Well, that's right. Another way of thinking of the same thing that you're saying is that tzadi, the letter tzadi, already has a vowel with the shva under it.
Right.
And so the thing that looks like the O vowel, the vav with the dot, can't be just a vowel because a letter could only have one vowel.
Right.
So it has to be both a letter and a vowel. That makes sense. Good. Keep going, Ruthie.
Hokim.
Good.
Oh, my eyes. Wait a second. Well, team.
Yeah.
Good.
Otenu.
It's
Otanu.
Otanu.
I'm sorry, I was looking at the wrong letter. Otanu. Lima madeka.
Ta.
Madeka.
Limadeta.
Ta. That's a ta. Okay, sorry.
It's a ta. It's a ta at the end.
That's a couple tough words in that one.
No, it's
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
I'm looking at this and I don't see what I'm supposed to see.
Yeah. Okay, Steve, next line.
Huh? Okay.
Al Cain Adonai Eloheinu Bishav okay. Bishav Venu.
It's O, Bishoch Venu. See how it's like it's a line with a dot under it, under the shin
Oh,
there?
yep. No, I see it now.
That's the O.
So I don't think I knew that was O. I thought the O was always on the top.
So that is a kamatz, the vowel that looks like a squat T, but sometimes that kamatz squat T vowel has an exception pronunciation of O. And so this Sidur prints it that way when it's the exception. When it's
Okay. So Bishoch Venu,
yes.
Uv Kumenu,
Mm-hmm.
Nashita.
Nope.
No, doesn't sound right.
It's not
Oh.
a shin. What is it?
Oh, I don't know.
Nas.
No,
it's a
Nash.
sit.
Nash.
No.
Nashia.
Nasiach.
Oh, it's the S. Nas. Oh, that's right. The dot's on the other side. Ruthie, you're right. This is really small print. Nasiha.
Ach. So whenever you have that chet with the single line vowel under it at the end of a word, it's reversed. Ach, not cha. That's
Got it.
another exception.
Nasiach. The who. Kecha.
Good job. Bichu kecha. Good.
What is the melody we sing this to, David?
Ahavat olam.
Ahavat olam Beit
Okay.
Yisrael. Or
I couldn't
sometimes you do
I couldn't recall it.
Ahavat Olam Beit Yisrael. Sometimes we do.
That doesn't sound
Ahavat Olam
that's it. Hey, just-
Yisrael. That's the one I grew up with.
That's the one, that's the one I recognize.
The other one
That
didn't
was
sound.
an old tune when I was a kid.
Well, Steve, you have the old version of the
Right.
Siddur. It probably has the old tunes and maybe even the Ashkenazic pronunciation.
I think, thank you for helping me out there, Norm. You're right. And I'm old, so that they go hand in hand.
Okay. Just for that, Norm, read the next line.
I'm sorry, I'm having so much fun. I lost where we are.
Fourth line.
Fourth line.
Yeah.
2, 3, 4.
Venice, ma.
V'nismach b'divrei Torah techa uv'mitzvotecha le'olam va'ed.
Good job. All right, Hannah, you're next.
Okay. Kihaim chayenu ve'orech yainu uvahem hang on a second. Nehige
Good.
yomam v'layla.
Good job. All right, next line, Teresa.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Loud and clear.
The aha va okay. The aha vat ha.
That was very good. This is a harder line because we don't sing this line usually.
Oh, okay. That's what it is. Yes. Al ta seer me me new le ola meme. Is that right?
Yep. Good
Okay.
job.
Should I continue?
Nope.
Teresa.
Last line's for Natalie.
Awesome.
Baruch atah Adonai Ohev Amo Yisrael. Beautiful.
Good job. So for those of you who want some optional homework in Hebrew, it's to practice reading this paragraph.
Page 29.
Page 29, Ahavat Olam. And
David, can you pronounce the word after al that Teresa was reading again?
Tasir.
Tasir.
Yeah,
Okay, thank you.
that means to take away.
Okay.
So that line reads, don't take away your love for us forever. Never take your love from us is how it does it there. Better English. The syntax is way different, so my translation was not so elegant. So you notice one of the curious things for me in here is how much the word love comes up in this paragraph. It starts with the word love, ahavat. The blessing at the end doesn't say anything about Torah or revelation. The blessing is, blessed are you, Adonai, who loves his people Israel. And we have, never take your love from us. That's not like a no-brainer for something that's supposed to be on the theme of Torah and revelation. Another interesting thing about that is it provides a connection, a bridge to turn to the next page. What's the first word of ve'ahavta?
You shall love.
You shall love. So it's connecting something that says we will love, we do love, that God loves us with the commandment that we love God, because it's a strange thing, isn't it, to be commanded to love?
Mhm.
Yes, Steve.
So I noticed for this, in reading the English of the last couple of pages and of the one you just told us to look at ahead, it says as a sign upon your hand.
Yeah.
I don't think that's referring to the tefillin because
It is.
everybody does it, or is it referring to the tefillin?
Yes.
Well, that's a very interesting question that we don't really have time to get into
Okay.
in detail since we have 3 minutes left, but I'll answer it that traditionally, yes, it's interpreted as referring to tefillin, because we have the one tefillin that we put on our left bicep and wrap it all around your forearm, the leather straps, and the other one goes
Okay.
at your hairline, sort of between your eyes. And so the tefillin were created to fulfill this commandment.
But they don't talk about the forehead. They talk about the mezuzah on the doorpost
No,
and the sign in your hand. That's why I
it
wasn't.
does.
In my eyes.
Bind them as a sign upon your hand. And
Oh,
as a reminder
above your eyes. You're right.
So the
You're right.
tefillin were created to fulfill this, and I'll show them to you next week if you want to see some more about tefillin. But the reason I hesitated is that many scholars think that that's not the original meaning of this paragraph, that that's like an early interpretation that departs from the original meaning. Like the original meaning might have been metaphorically.
Your mind. Yeah.
Not like
Right.
keep it,
By your actions and your
keep it by
thoughts.
your actions and your thoughts,
No.
But the rabbis did not like commandments to be metaphorical. They wanted to be something that you could do. And so they interpreted it as something very physical that you could do. Yes, Norm. You're muted.
Unmute, Norm.
Since we're going down this rabbit hole that you didn't want to get into, but you said you had 3 minutes.
Now you're muted again.
Mm-mm, mm-mm.
Are we also doing the Catholic
You're
genuflection?
not muted.
Oh.
I don't know enough about
Holy Ghost.
that to really answer it intelligently. The only thing I know about it is I think that you're making a cross on your body.
It's
Maybe
a
someone
tree.
could correct me. I think that's what you're doing. You're making a
Probably.
cross.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's.
Yeah,
this-
but aren't you starting at your head? You may be making a cross with the body, but aren't you starting with the head in that
Head.
action? I'm no expert for sure, but that's what I think is the first movement is the head.
Up.
And that's where I'm picking it up. So in any event, I
Okay.
just thought of that as we were talking about it.
Well, Norm has the last word,
No, no.
but
That's a good time.
don't assume that it's correct because it's the last word.
Lahitra out.
Yes, Steve.
I just wanted to tell you all that today was Becky's and mine's 49th wedding anniversary, and I took her out to lunch anywhere she wanted to go and spent any amount of money she wanted. And so we had lunch at Burger King. And that's why I was a couple of minutes late.
Really? You were at Burger King?
It was convenient for her because she volunteered to do something at the Brockton Y and then had to get to work. So where was the quickest place we could eat
Oh.
and she could get to work without rushing?
You're a true romantic, Steve.
I
Very
thought so.
romantic.
I just wanted to let you know what a great romanticist I was.
Sorry, you had your way to take her. You could have just forgot the whole thing.
All right. Well, have a great week, folks.
Happy
Thank you, David. This was
Bye.
great.
Good night.
Great to be back. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Natalie, can I give you a call?
What?
Are you free? Can I give you a call, Natalie?
Yes, you can.
Okay, I want to just talk to you for a minute.
You're gonna
Bye.
call me now because I'm gonna take a walk.
Okay, it's gonna